welcome to the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. This is a podcast where we get writers, artists, all kinds of creators on to create a one-page comic. It's based off of something we've never seen before, something we've never done before. We get some prompts together, we figure it out, and then by the end of this whole session, we'll have a new one-page comic that didn't exist before we started. So my name's Adriano. You can find me at pestocomics.com or at pestocomics. Right now, I'm just on Blue Sky and Instagram, but usually that spreads out to everywhere else. So you can find me at pestocomics. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful artist friend, Roberto. Roberto, let them know who you are and what you're up to.
Okay, my name is Roberto Adriano. I'm the co-creator of Voyager. And what else? I'm right now. I think we already finished the campaign for Nathaniel Fox 2, and you can find me on robertoviacaoillustration.com and go from there to every aspect of everything I'm producing.
So today we're joined by a new guest, Cesar. Please let us know who you are, what you're up to. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, actually. So my name is Cesar Baez. The A has the accent too. I'm a writer. I'm learning right now under Scott Snyder and Bendis, basically taking different classes, but I have written some projects that haven't gone very well, but still holding out hope. It's not easy, but it's best to hold out hope. You can find me on Instagram at cbaezwrites. That's the one with the little Metal Gear photo, because I am not that photogenic. So,
oh man, you're being too hard on yourself already. But we'll get to that. Before we'll get into it, we're gonna put you through your paces with the writing right now. So I'm gonna jump right into the prompts. We like to do this as quickly as humanly possible because we want Roberto to get drawing while we start chatting. But you've already given me lots to bug you about. So don't look at these prompts because I've been looking at them and that's cheating. So I'm going to refresh them. I'll read them out and then you let me know which ones are speaking out to you once I've finished reading them out. So we have peek outside. What's going on outside at this moment? We've done that one, but we could probably do it again. Miniature dollhouse, right from the perspective of the dolls. Glance. Two people can't stop glancing at each other. People watching. Tell the story of a random person who passes by. In Dreamcatcher. I think we did this one too. Someone is able to steal your dreams. So I'm sure you'll have a different take on all of it. So are any of these speaking to you right now?
definitely the Dreamcatcher, because I love me some Nightmare on Elm Street. So the miniature dollhouse too. I'm feeling that name because the thing that first came to mind when I saw that was like the specific episode of the Twilight Zone, like the old series with Rod Serling, and it's like this guy's basically, I think he's like falling in love with the doll. I'm not gonna reveal the twist, but it's that. Peek out. So yeah, because peek outside, nothing much is happening outside. So I'm definitely feeling miniature dollhouse and Dreamcatcher.
Right on. And we could absolutely combine them. So I'm down for that. Let's do it. Let's combine them. I'll drop my screen and Roberto will share his and we'll get to it. I think we're going to get along just fine because I'm a big fan of the Rod Serling Twilight Zone myself. Been doing a rewatch. We only got through the first couple seasons thus far, but so good. It's just so good when it's good.
It is really good.
Yeah.
I think when I first watched it, I think I was in high school, and it was back when it was on Netflix before, the whole streaming service mass population happened. So I think what caught my attention was when Netflix has the previews, they show I think they showed by accident, they accidentally spoiled the big twist episode of Eye of the Beholder, because it showed the people that they were, that they're actually ugly, beautiful in their world, ugly in ours. But, yeah, but they accidentally spoiled it, even though when you see the episode, it's rough because I already know what you look like. You can't fool me with the shadows. But No, Twilight Zone, the original series, I feel like it's a really wonderful show, and it honestly has a lot of messages that definitely spread out through today. It's almost like it's tiniest, essentially. That's how I feel about it. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely agree. Like again, it's episode per episode. Some of them are kind of, they don't age as well, or they just don't have enough going on. But for the most part, yeah, like they're such well told. Like it's such a tight 20-minute story, right? Like it's very hard for anybody to sort of seem to replicate that. Black Mirror is the closest we had, but they need a full hour, right? But to do it in 20 minutes and to hit the notes that they did with that show, so good, so good.
yeah, it's wonderful. I think that one of my favorite episodes. It was the one right after the match. I Am the Night, Color Be Black. Especially in the time it came out, I thought it was like not only so well directed because they definitely play a lot with the lighting, but definitely also like a good message to keep. And the fact that they didn't limit it to one specific topic, it's more of a general thing. Like at the end, I'm not gonna spoil it. They just mention other stuff that's happening and like express the whole message. But yeah,
Yeah, it's so good. So as we as I break the rule that I always set for myself, which is we're gonna jump right into it. We I had to bring up the Twilight Zone.
uh,
Roberto is now drawing without any prompt. Sorry.
so what I'm getting at, I think this pitch that I'm thinking of is basically a lot of children, they tend to dream about like toys and like just kind of living in the toy world, kind of like similar to Toy Story. Like it's always that fascination of like, oh, what's does my toy think? You know, as kids, we pretend that our toys are people, and then we interact with them. So, and it's like almost like a fantasy. And when I'm thinking of like someone who could steal your dream, I'm thinking that this is definitely someone who is watching the perspective of a child and definitely thinking, okay, let me turn this dollhouse into a nightmare. Because I think the full motive is probably because they either like to torment children. I mean, that's typical, but also what I'm getting at is maybe definitely they like to see what the various children dream of and how they react to it. It's not much of a evil, more of a malevolent evil, like layers of evil.
I like that. I like that. So I think that's good. We got a theme. Now the question is, how do we fit this onto one page? This is the challenge.
That's a challenge.
We're limited in our space, so we're talking 5 panels, 3 to 7. In an ideal world, I think we've gone up to 9 once before. I don't recommend 9 unless you want just talking head. Although we did okay with the 9-panel ones. But I would shy against it. The more room that Roberto has to work his magic, the better, of course. So
I got it.
let's. So the way so if you're a writer, what's your process when it comes to figuring out a story? Do you start at the end? Do you start in the middle? What's your how do you crack a story?
I feel like starting at the end just kind of leaves no sense of creativity in a way. Like every story has to have an ending. That's the point of that. But I feel like if you focus yourself on one specific ending, then you're basically limiting your creativity. It's like you're choosing to go through the narrow door instead of like seeing all the doors around you. And I feel like for me, I start specifically at the beginning because that's the point that the audience is introduced to. Like this is where it opens, and I think in a lot of the beginning, you definitely have to show what your world could be and show what your characters are. So, like this one script I did, it was from one of my projects that, well, the Kickstarter wasn't well, but I was still proud of what the product became from what we have. Thresher. It's basically the idea of it was like a Charlton mixed in with the old horror movies. So when I was writing the intro sequence to it, I thought of it as okay, maybe you should open up like how an old movie would with like a self narration and like the character reflecting on what happened and their reaction to this sort of supernatural type thing. So yeah, that's my process in terms of writing script. I always think of, okay, what message do I want to like present to the audience? And then from there, given how maybe I feel it or the audience feel it, because I'm an open person. I don't mind, criticisms or like insight, because I feel like everybody's perspective is interesting. Whatever they could bring, it's interesting. So I always feel like I leave open room for a person to think about it and go like, okay, what about this? And then if it if it gets me, it's like, huh, that's an interesting way to put it. And then I could probably like warp it around so it could sort of meet a middle point between what I want and what the audience wants. So yeah, so for this, it's definitely more of a, okay, how am I feeling for the story to start or in this one page? Yeah.
That's a everybody goes at it a different way. I feel the exact opposite. And deep zone, right? Like I totally get where you're coming from. It's a process thing, right? For me, it's like I'll never get to where I'm headed if I don't know where I'm going, kind of thing, right? Like I need that map. It's the plotter pantser thing. You sound like a pantser to me. You sound like you sit down and you're like, I know the vibe I'm going for, and I'm gonna feel it out until I get there. Where I'm like, if I sit down and I start that way, I never get anywhere. I need to have my destination. But then the way you get there is the right. Where do I end is the one thing. But then like the way you get there is where the fun is. But again, process is process. Everybody has a different approach. That said, I'm willing to do it your way for this. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying it broadly.
No worries.
So for this, Roberto's done a beautiful cover for us. You should get it covered. So where do we start in terms of the storytelling? Like where's the and I'm gonna need you to hold my hand here because I used to start at the end. So since we're starting at the beginning, where do we start?
All right. So the perspective I'm getting at is with a miniature dollhouse. You kind of start in basically one of the rooms of the house, maybe a living room, a bedroom. A lot of children tend to like, I have my girlfriend has like nieces and they play with dolls too. And something that I notice with any kid that plays with dolls is that there's always a specific room, and it's usually either the living room or the dollhouse's bed. So I feel like opening up in there, maybe the dolls are like having tea, because tea is common for children at that age, or just pretty much like social events, a child's perspective of a social event.
And this is within the dollhouse that it's happening, like the living room of the dollhouse, or the dollhouse is in the living room.
No, within the living room of the dollhouse.
Okay.
I don't think the having the dollhouse in the living room kind of breaks the illusion a little bit. It's supposed to be a dream.
Yeah.
So I think a child's going to pretend, okay, this is a dream, and I'm in my dream house. That's certainly the name, dream house, and I'm just having tea with my friends, and like these accessories, the one that like a handbag, heels, because of the common stuff in doll.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I feel like it's a good way to open up.
That's a good start. Sets the scene well. So I feel so like I'm falling without a parachute here, man. This is not my process. It's all good though. It's all good. I'm here for the experience. So where do we go from here? We're watching.
Right. Well, this is where my limited experience in film classes in college come in. I think from this panel, I think it can pan into one of the dolls and definitely show them like usually one of the things that are commonly said between and playing pretend with dolls is, would you want some tea? Like offering something, basically. So I'm thinking like pan into one of the dolls and they're like, oh, would you want some tea or some cookies? Something that.
Do I show the hands of the kid playing or just the?
I feel like since this is supposed to be a dream, I think the kid will be pretending to be the doll. Like that's just my thing. So
But
it's,
I don't show them like dolls. I make them like humans.
it's something like a bit in between. I feel like
Okay.
Yeah.
with a fantasy like this, especially like in a dream, it definitely has a sense of it feels real, but it also has a little bit of whimsy in it. And there's like a lot of stuff that sort of perfectly capture that. Like, for example, this old Christmas movie that they play, March of the Wooden Soldiers, does it. Toy Story, like that kind of stuff. That's what I'm kind of getting at. This is supposed to be a dream.
Yeah, so they're kind of like rigid, right? But they still have expression or whatever, right? Like I guess if anything, they have cartoony expression. You would think, right? Like overblown, like
Yeah,
has
definitely,
yeah,
definitely cartoony. Because after all, like I said, this is a dream. We have to
Yeah.
sort of immerse ourselves in the fantasy of it being a dream.
And again, this is our layout phase, so we have some room to manipulate. Or if you're like, should be smiling, should be sad, like now's the time. Once he puts in the detail, then you're asking him a favor. I don't think you'd be the first to do that, but yeah, no, now's definitely the time
No.
to make these changes.
I'm definitely feeling that little sort of pop-up effect that you're doing with the doll's cup. I love it. It's sort of it's obviously speaking to someone, but also speaking to the audience. And I think in a lot of warp perspective of the dreams, it's very like fisheye-esque, like they present you something. So I'm definitely loving that little pop-up you're doing, Roberto.
Great.
Nice. So she offers the tea, and then something happens. Now the conflict is introduced. What is the conflict?
All right. I feel like I took this from because this thing specifically brings to me. It happens when I'm writing a scene, I go like, okay, it's reminding me of this. So where I'm getting at, where the illusion breaks, because this is supposed to be where the conflict rises. I'm thinking like basically it's sort of supposed to look first person in a way, but like basically the person they're offering the tea goes like, I gladly take it, and then right behind it, there's a mirror. And then you could sort of see like maybe like a shadow outline of the creature of the being, like definitely not showing it first. A lot of horror movies, especially some of my favorites, they don't immediately show the person, rather like a split second of a glimpse. Like it just catches you right enough just for you to realize like, oh wait, what's that?
Wait,
And
sorry, I didn't. A glance of the person taking the tea, the offering, or something
No.
something behind it.
something behind it and like the reflection of a mirror.
Okay.
A lot of something like that. I think I'm getting at this. It is specific on me. Candyman, the recent one, the recent one
The
they
remake,
made
really,
with
Jordan Peele? I can't remember.
Jordan Peele. It's Jordan Peele.
Sure.
Yeah, like the way they pretty much present the Candyman person, whoever it is, Robotide, whichever, that they show them specifically in the reflection, but not an actual person. So it's sort of like, I think in one of the scenes, he's basically, they only could see him through the reflection of the mirror, not really much in person. So it's almost like a sense of malevolency, I guess that's the word. But yeah, definitely thinking like the person is like in a first person view, the person who's being offered the tea is taking it, and then in the distance you see the mirror right there, and sort of like the outline of the figure.
The good visual, for sure.
You know, which I do love my good old comic visuals, my trippy comic visuals.
Yes, yes.
A lot of that I think might have came from one of my favorite ones, that being John Ostrander's The Spectre. I absolutely love Tom Mandrake's artwork with the character and how he sort of blurs the supernatural entity into doing these trippy stuff. Like in the first, like I think there's a second issue, the second issue, when he's pretty much confronting these drug dealers, he does this visual where he has the drug dealers in his arm, and then like the hands come out like Freddy Krueger needles, and then he injects them it injects itself in the arm as a way to like make them feel what they do to others when they push out drugs. So it's like that sort of like trippy visual I'm getting at. See if I can find specific issue. I think it's I think maybe issue 3. I know issue 1 talks about his, I think issue 1 talks about his origin. Issue 2 talks about his current state, and then I think issue somewhere around the beginning issues they like have him confront some drug dealers.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But
I think
pretty much
issue 2 maybe. Anyways, yeah. Look up, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I read any of the 90s Spectre. I went through the Superman triangle, but Spectre is off my radar.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good recommendation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the best underrated runs because I feel like not many people talk about it. Funny enough, that led to a funny interaction that I had in Comic-Con last year with Tim Sheridan, the current writer of Green Lantern. Alan Scott Green Lantern. I was blank for some reason. But I was basically saying, because at the time he wrote an issue with the Spectre in it. And he's like, oh, I love the Ostrander run. And we were like nerding out about it. It was really fun. And he said that one of his like, the reason why he had the Spectre there was a way to tease DC to go like, oh, can I get that Spectre mini? Because I really love this character and I want to write something with him. So
Nice.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most underrated runs in comic history, especially like given the complexities of the Spectre as a character. A lot of that writing has definitely influenced mine. So yeah, it's been a great run.
I love hearing that. I love hearing. So the trend lately has been to just really crap on like big 2 comics. It just be like, it's full of garbage. I prefer reading Saga or whatever, or even Saga's fallen out of favor now. It had too long of a run. But you know what I mean? Like, it's usually, I read this bespoke indie, and that's what I want to make. Nobody reads superhero comics. Come on, man.
I
got into it from...
I see some of the perspective. I'm very much of a person that I love the comic medium. I love the stories that we could tell. Like recently, James Tynion is doing Tynion. Having issues pronouncing his name. He corrected it once. I don't think he cares. But he started his own company where he's presenting different horror comics. And recently I read, at the time, a couple months ago, I read The Exquisite Corpses. It's his recent thing that he's coming out with. And I absolutely adore it because it not only feels horror, but there's also like a little glimpse of superheroes. So I feel like in comic medium, especially from our roots, because at the early 1900s of comics, it's definitely a medium where you could explore different stories from. The 40s and 50s had a bunch of World War II stuff, obviously. But even at the time, at the height of the superhero popularity, there was other stuff happening, like House of Mystery, which is one of the earliest anthological comics of horror, or the variety of Space Tales. So I definitely feel like I don't have a preference when it comes to comics. I just love the medium entirely, and the stories that we could tell. I don't really crap on comics too much in the first place, but the stories that we could tell through comics, it's what makes us fans. It's the different visuals we could tell, and I feel like it's easier to crap on a comic than it is to actually bring praise to some of it. It's easier to in general hate something than it is to like actually show like, okay, this is actually good, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. Like you're in the right place, and like I've always been kind of unabashed about what I enjoy about comics. I'm a Superman guy. Everybody says Superman's lame and they're wrong. And right,
Agreed.
So I'm all in there. But in film school, I was taught this on the film side of things because we were talking about Harry Potter in one class, in our cinematography class. And I was like, Harry Potter, who even cares? Like, that's a kid's movie. I was told, like, you should appreciate everything because you have something to learn from every version of the story. So just because you don't like Harry Potter doesn't mean that it's not a good piece of art. And that kind of like, right? So people do it with comics, but I did it with film. But yeah, it's the same idea. Like there's something to appreciate regardless of the way you get to it, right? So and, yeah, it's a good lesson for sure.
Definitely. All right.
Next panel. Let's do this.
Okay, so we got.
So
I'm like,
did
I
I get
think
it right?
sorry.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
you
if
did
I
it
get
right.
it right. Because,
Yeah, you did it right. That's the idea. That's the idea, right there. That the entity is sort of standing behind the person from the reflection. That's good right there. That's perfect.
okay, I feel like it has to be something more subtle, but I don't know. Let's keep going and I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, it's definitely subtle. I love it so far. I could definitely have to zoom in a little bit, but you could definitely eye catch it. It's like when you see it, you see it, and like it like grabs your attention. Like, oh, what's that? You know, even when you were drawing, almost like I see you doing the little outline, and I think it's like, okay, yeah, that's that. If it could catch my attention, it could probably catch anyone's attention from that one panel. So, yeah.
So we're running out of space, I feel like. So I feel like we need to start bringing it home. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're the driver. I'm just a backseat driver at this point.
Yeah, I was getting the same idea a couple minutes ago. I was like looking in and mapping it out internally.
Mhm.
So I was feeling like, okay, so right here, the panel next to it, right there, that could definitely be the doll's realization, and it sort of has that sort of close up of a doll like going frightened like that, like eyebrows raised, the little eyes like sort of becoming more ovals, and like the mouth just shocked. And then in the last panel, which is a good wide one, that's actually a good way to map it out. That's when we like see the creature in the mirror and he's sort of like smiling, like in a sort of like sinister way.
Right in.
Yeah, that's what. If I see like when a lot of my artists like that I work with, when I see their product, I sort of like sometimes map it out in my head, just thinking about it, like, okay, that works. Or sometimes they add it in a way where it gets to where we both want, and it's like it looks cool doing it. Like especially when I'm writing fight scenes, I tend to be very choreograph heavy, and I'll admit that I am very choreograph heavy in fight scenes. But I think the beauty of having another person that give me insight is that they could present it in a way where it can still fit the page, but also like doesn't feel like too much. You get what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's tough. I was gonna ask you that. Like, are you very detailed in your description, or do you kind of let the artist run with it? Or does it change for artist? You find?
I balance it out. So one of the advice that I got from Brian Michael Bendis was that it's good to be descriptive in your scripts when you're writing them. And for example, I recently read his Powers script, the script to his comic, and they did, and in it he shows like, okay, specific film angles, or you know, how the flow is supposed to go in the sequence of panels. And before, I used to pretty much just like leave open room for the artist to interpret it. I still do. Like I'm not I'm not so specific that the artist can't like really work, but because I'm open to the artist's own interpretation. But I also like make sure it's enough description to get like, okay, this is where I want, and wherever you can take it, wherever you feel you can take it, definitely go for it. As long as it's presented, that is pretty much what I want. Like what I'm writing here, it has to be presented there. How you do the presentation, it's up to you. I it's a sort of like empathy that you have with the artist, where me and my arts, a little bit of life drawing that I did, I sort of basically understood a little of the process and how taxing it could be, especially perspectives. I hated drawing perspectives. It was difficult for me in life drawing. Like I think it was so difficult. I had it once, and then when I do it again, I was like, seems like garbage. What am I doing? So, I definitely understand like an artist having to have their liberty, and to do that with my scripts is basically I give a description of what I'm going for, and I sometimes add reference material. Like I do like a little parentheses, go like, oh, look at this for reference if you haven't, or I pretty much just leave it enough so that way the artist could do it. So, yeah.
Fair. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Where were we? So we have this last panel with the creepy crawly guy. How are we feeling about it? Is that what you envisioned?
Definitely what I envisioned. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft's work, like H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I took from his writing when I was reading a lot of it was definitely when it comes to horror, you don't want to reveal what your creature is yet. It's the sort of like silent golden rule. Like you don't have to do it because some of my favorite horror movies have not done that. But for me, when it comes to like horror itself, I love more of the Lovecraftian route where you don't know what this thing is. And it's sort of in a way realistic, especially in a dream sense where you're like, you're dreaming about this doll fantasy and you're sort of like see a creature that does not make sense in it. Like this is it. Like, what am I looking at? What is this? So that's a good way of breaking the illusion without having to reveal everything. And it sort of gives like a shock ending, like, sort of like, oh my God, what is that? And then it sort of like breaks that this isn't your dream, this is your nightmare. So yeah, I definitely love it. I also love the sort of like little sort of like light shadows over there. But I think it's perfect. I think it's good the way it is.
Nice. Fair. Cool. Roberto will work on refining this if you have no notes, and then we will. One of the things I wanted to chat with you about, because you mentioned it off the top, was so you're part of both. So Scott Snyder's Black Jacket, Best Jacket, what do they call it? Black Jacket's the exclusive club.
It's called Our Best Jacket.
Our Best Jacket. Wait, and then Black Jacket's the higher level,
it's the higher level, and then Bendis is Jinx World.
Jinx World, that's right. So are you in the Black Jacket club or just the regular tier?
I wish I had Black Jacket money.
But... now you're making me feel bougie. Sure. So I will say, so the best part of you get all these little you get to talk to Scott and that's really cool. Don't get me wrong. Like he helped me with, I had like a little short story for an anthology, the Tito Comics one. And he really helped like hone it in, just like a 5-minute chat with him. And it like made a huge difference. But the cool thing is if you go to San Diego, this year I'm going to New York. So apparently they do it in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And you get like a little breakfast or dinner with all the other people that are in that little group. So that was really cool. Yeah. I got to do it in San Diego last year and got to meet Scott and he brought Dragato with him as like a special guest.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I've wanted to go for it, but without finances and whatnot, I do always attend New York Comic Con because one, I live in New York, I'm from it, born and raised here. So I tend to try to go to the New York Comic Con when I can. And I do talk to Scott when he's at the signings. I think last I talked to him was he did a signing over in Grand Central. That's what it was. Midtown Comics Grand Central. And he was signing, I think, Absolute Batman number 9. So I was like, we had a nice chat about appreciation. But he also like gave me some advice on my direction with like my writing right now. I'm sort of taking a little step back, a way to sort of like approach in a different angle. But yeah, I think definitely Snyder and Bendis are really good mentor figures. They give wonderful insight and wonderful like engagement with the students, and basically like, oh, here's something you can improve on. I like what you're doing so far. Maybe try this and see where it goes. And I think definitely for any up and coming writer who's not very confident, I think it's good for them to like engage in those classes. Cause not only you have advice from a professional and you can learn the many tools of the trade, but also you have other people like you know, other artists that are struggling. That's actually where I met my artist. Funny enough, I met my artist through there, Miguel Silva. He's a wonderful artist. But yeah, I met my artist through there. Oh, and Pablo Barrios, another artist that I met through there. It's a good way to start, like a nice sense of, okay, I could build something here, and I could take the lessons and put it out there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard. That's the best thing of all of this, all of the making comics. And people don't always appreciate that because they're always like, so comics is a very introverted group of people, right? Table at any convention, and you will quickly see how introverted everyone is. I tend to be very loud. I'm like, we'll yell at strangers happily. So right, I don't have that problem. But for most people, they don't even appreciate the eye contact. And so having these groups is a big deal. So you find a lot. So that was the best part. Like both through our best jacket. I got to meet a lot of people in San Diego. I met Roberto through Comics Launch, the Tyler James one. That was just me again being loud, being like, I'm in Toronto. And then Roberto's like, hey, I'm in Niagara. You wanna hang out, right? But that was just me like yelling at everyone, like, yeah, anyway. So you get these things, like it gets you through that at least. I think again, I'm probably a bad example, but it kind of forces you to join the community a little bit, and that's really how you're going to get anywhere. That's how you're going to, because you can't do it unless you can do it alone. Like you could make your comic all by yourself and release it, but at the end of the day, you want other people to read it. You can't do it on your own, right? So you need the help of your peers, and that means you need to be a part of the community, to be one of the peers, right? So these groups, like, you can't do all of them. You can't just pick one, focus on that one, and become the person that you don't even have to do the big ones. You can go to. I'm in the Two-Headed Nerd one. It's a podcast I've been listening to for decades, which is crazy to say now, but for decades, and they have a Discord, and their Discord is very friendly, and you can meet all kinds of people in there. Right. So there's all kinds of ways to get yourself in, but it is important that you be a part of a community, right? You don't do it all in a vacuum. So,
definitely one of the best advice I got in life in general is a person who could work alone is someone that could thrive with a group better. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff in life that we could definitely do by ourselves, but this industry is all about making connections. It's definitely about like who to know, what to know, and how you present yourself. And I feel like before at cons, I used to be like, oh, I'm nerding out. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. But now it's more so just leaving a positive insight on people. Presenting yourself as who you are, because you're both, at the end of the day, we're all fans, and let's put it this way. But also, like saying that, oh, it's good to know this person's intentions and what they might bring to a future project if you want to look back at them. But yes, this industry is definitely one where you have to make connections and definitely be more extroverted than you are introverted. I was terrible at making connections. I'm not that much social, but I tend to try to get out of my comfort zone, speak to other people. I think one of the best things that I did to probably help me get out of that is I went to a bar. That sounds so wrong out of context. So for some context, I volunteered for Global Comics on Saturday at New York Comic Con, and they offered like a mixer. I think it was on a Thursday or so. So I got out of work, went to the mixer, met up with one of my friends that was coming in from DC. And from there, I was able to meet like other people that, you know, have interesting perspectives and also give wonderful advice. I met, forgot his name, but I remember he said that he worked on the art for one of G. Willow's Poison Ivies. But he was a wonderful guy, and I absolutely loved the advice he was giving, and definitely like all what he was saying. And then I also met some other people that I follow on Instagram. One that made an interesting story that I actually really loved. This it's called Kaiju Days. It's a pretty good one. It's basically, oh, what if the kaiju's were the main characters? But I love that concept, and I met him through that bar. I also met Sean Gorman or Sean Von Gorman and Joey Esposito through that bar when they were promoting the pedestrian. And Sean and Joey were really not only just one of the most wonderful guys in the room, but also one of the most insightful guys. Sean definitely gave me a lot of advice, like saying that me and my friend who just had a story published, or at that time, we were pretty much already ahead more than what people would expect us to be. Because he put it in this wonderfully. It's easier to say that you have an idea and like say, "Oh, I have this idea," and explain it, than actually do it. And I've definitely had me look back and realize I've been doing it. I've been writing scripts, and that's already more progress than it is. A lot of the intimidation that people have is just like, "Oh, it's not going this. Why am I? It's not pushing enough." But the fact alone that in the industry, just the fact that writing is the first step, like actually writing it out and finish writing it, that says a lot. It's amazing. It's almost like, you know, you can either think it or you could do it. And definitely in the industry, you have to do it.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's one of those things that it puts you like in the top 10% people who say they are like say they want to do it and pine for doing it and want to do it. But having done it, you're already in the like top 10% of people. So even if you're doing the worst version of it, it still puts you ahead of 90% of people who are still dreaming of it and thinking about it and waiting for the right day to do it. And you know what I mean? And not actually following through and getting something completed and in the world and like that you can grab and say, yes, I've completed this. I've done it. It's amazingly rare. And then the next level is somebody who does it again, because a lot of people do one or two and it doesn't take off because of course it wouldn't. Who are you? Right? Like lots of people have done it. Even though you're a subset of a subset, like it's the people who continue to do it and continue trying and fall down and try again. And because the truth is the first time you do anything, you're not going to be great at it. So you got to keep trying, and you got to keep improving, and you got to learn what you've done wrong and improve on it. That's the thing. You don't just do it and then do it again and do it again. You do it and then you do it better, right? You do it better, right? But it's that it's knowing to do that. And the great thing with the comics community, they've all done it. They've all been there. They've all started nothing, and then one day decided I'm going to try, right? And then failed, and then tried again and failed and tried again, and got something published and whatever, or self-published, or went on Kickstarter, or did whatever they did, and it kept building and the snowball up until now they have people coming to conventions to see them specifically, right? But they started in the same place that we all start, right? Maybe there's one or two exceptions that walked right in and got a job, but all of those. Right? Most of the people, and that's the difference between comics and most things like film and all that. Like it's people with connections, people that kind of had some way in. With comics, it seems to be like it's all ground up people, right? Like it's people who didn't have a connection, didn't know anything, didn't necessarily live in New York. I know you do, but you know what I mean? Like, and and you live in a New York of a different time, to be fair, like not New York of the 70s where there was the office to knock on the door up. You know what I mean? Like it's people from all over the place just trying to get some attention to make it happen and kind of go from there, right? And so I think because of that, everybody's willing to kind of reach back and put their hand out to bring you up, right? Where maybe you don't get that in every industry. But you definitely get it with comics because everybody knows your struggle because they were just there, like momentarily ago. Right?
So, definitely.
I was listening this morning. I was listening to an interview to Greg Capullo, and he was telling the story of how he break in. And he was going to the offices of DC and Marvel in New York and getting into the building and in the getting in the elevator with the editors and the offices. And you can do that anymore. You cannot pass the door.
That's
If,
it.
if I could do that, I would have done that already. I know where the Marvel offices are. I know the exact building. If I wanted to do that, I could have done that, but I can't do that. So
Yeah, and that's what I heard at a panel once, that the thing about, they always have this like breaking into the industry panels. And one of them, they said, here's the thing about the breaking into the industry, is that the way I did it, you can't do anymore. Right? I took that path and the door closed behind me, and I wish it didn't, but it did. So you have to find a different way now. Like, and everybody has their own path, and it's completely different than the person next to them. So yeah, the Great Kapula one obviously doesn't work for the next guy, because now they don't let anybody into the building, and now the building doesn't exist. If you're talking about grant times, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's that idea of like, you have to find your own way, and the only way to really do it is to get yourself out there and make these connections and have something to show for it too. Like, it's not just networking. That's frankly the easy part. Like, be a nice person and chat with people. And most people are like, willing to chat with you, but you also then have to have something to prove that you're a serious person, to prove that you can follow through on what you're saying, right? It's like you said, I have an idea. Cool. So does everyone, right? Now what?
yeah, you actually just reminded me of something. It's a advice that I got from two people, by accident. But I got it the first time I got it was from Fabian Nietza. I don't want to pronounce his name sometimes, but the co-creator of
how the name is spelled.
Yeah, the co-creator of Deadpool and Cable. Wonderful guy, love him. So he gave me really wonderful advice I ended up hearing recently when I asked a question on a Ask Me Anything by Gary Dugan, which is basically, for editors, you want to pretty much write original stories that could bring you to the stuff that you want to write. So definitely, editors are always looking. That's one of the things that Gary Dugan said. But also, like, the original stories that you make, that's essentially your resume. And what you're presenting towards them, what you're presenting towards them, and that's what they're looking for. They've said it. You don't go to the office and go like, I want to write that one. No,
I have a great Superman idea. Yeah.
You don't go for them for that. You pretty much have to make them want you to write Superman, want you to write the stuff that you want to write. Like, I have a whole plethora of characters that I would love to one day honor to write, miniseries, ongoing, whatever. But I can't just simply ask that. I have to show it through my work, and show it through, what I'm doing right now. And a lot of it's basically, especially for something like my previous project, The Thresher, it's definitely, okay, I like superheroes. I respect not just I don't just love the modern age. I respect the old age and the silver age and every age of superhero, but also not just limited superheroes. I like sci-fi, and currently I'm working on a script right now for a sci-fi story that I absolutely am having a blast writing, especially the world building. Or, I like espionage stories, or stuff like that. It's just all about presenting to the editor unintentionally what you want to write. Like, what fascinates you about storytelling? What kind of stories do you want to tell?
Yeah, there's definitely something to that too. Like, you don't have to write the thing directly. Like, you don't have to do your Superman fan fiction to get to write Superman. That's the worst way, actually, because it means that story's burnt and they can't do it anymore. But yeah, it's your sensibility, right? It's your showing that you're capable of telling a story and getting, like you mentioned at the beginning of all of this. It's like you really focus on theme and the emotion that you're trying to get through before you even think of plot or character or anything, right? It's that showing that you understand these tenets of putting a story together. And then if you're an artist, that's being able to show all of that through what you're putting together, and you have good composition and all that stuff, right? Like, aside from the foundational skills of you can draw, it's can you draw comics? It's can you tell a story? Can you put these words that this writer put together and that everything they were trying to get across, can you put that onto a page? So it's proving that, right? Because again, there's a lineup out the door of people trying to do the same thing. So if you don't have anything to show that you can do that, then you're never going to get to, right? Like it's you have to have some sort of proof, and a resume isn't going to cut it. Really, a resume is nothing. You have to have work in hand to show, right? It doesn't even have to be the most successful work. It's not like you have to go on Kickstarter and blow the doors off, but you have to have something. You completed a story with an artist, work together, it was finished, it's successful, and you move on to the next thing. You know what I mean? It's that showing that you're a professional. That's the end of it. Like, it's a business, right? It's a creative thing, but it's a business.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And that was kind of the struggle that I had, was basically getting a finished product. But it definitely feels good, just the process of like getting there, like seeing the art of the character you came up in your head sort of reflect into life. And sometimes it's not the way you expected it, but it also like brings it in a way where it's like, I actually like this. Like, it actually looks better. Like, when designing one of the characters, my artist Miguel, so Thresher is a shark themed superhero, gadgets and everything. I didn't think about this until he sent me the art, like the character sheet of the character. So he gave him an uneven cape and he told me his girlfriend that she works with like, I think it was marine biology. I don't remember. The public correct me, but cute animals, and specifically thresher sharks actually have uneven tails, and that actually got me. As like, holy shit, that actually is cool. Wait, hold up. Like, and I see it's like, oh wait, that's actually, I never thought about that. Or even like the smaller details, like, okay, he has like sharp teeth on his for like a jaw guard. I was like, holy shit, that just gave me an idea. But it's like definitely, it's definitely putting up a lot of seeing what your creation is and seeing it presented, and then when you present it to the world, that already tells you more about what they love, and like you said, getting those editors to notice you and like, see, this is what you like writing. And definitely for me, I want to try to keep going for that path. I want to keep writing the stories that I want to write, and definitely the overall vibe that I could write. Like, even this one right here, I love horror movies, and I absolutely am loving it already. Like, the art is definitely what I'm picturing from those two prompts. It's wonderful. I even like the little detail that Roberto did where he kind of made them look like Legos. And I absolutely love that. Like, that's the wonderful thing about working with someone else, is that they add stuff that you don't expect. And this is a perfect example of it. Because I was thinking like, okay, maybe like Barbie doll or something, but he made it into like Playmobil Legos, and I think that actually looks more better than doing stiff arm movements. I love it.